Welcome. This is an overview presentation for Ed Administration 554, focusing on the topic, Reform as Design Thinking. For the next few minutes, I would like to outline some of our class findings and discussions with regards to planners and searchers, and how it impacts our work as leaders. You might be wondering, what is design thinking and why is it important? Tim Brown, the CEO of IDEO, defines design thinking not as creating new kinds of buildings, structures, or products, but rather a change in thinking both culturally and contextually. He believes that design thinking has the potential to make an impact on everyone and everything. So where do we begin? First, we must consider the players in education. We are all familiar with the terms teachers, students, community members, and administrators, but have you heard anything about planners or searchers? Planners and searchers are the two types of personalities that William Easterly discusses in his book, The White Man's Burden. In it, he states that planners have good intentions but cannot motivate others, while searchers seek to find the things that work to get rewards. In our discussions, planners have been identified as administrators who are overwhelmed with the management of their position and are often ineffective. They see the problems and have good intentions to improve outcomes. However, they never seem to get away from their desk. They also come to the table with big ideas. However, they don't always implement with integrity or consistency. For example, how often have you participated in the latest education fad or new professional development, only to find that your leadership is not following through on it? Searchers, on the other hand, tend to focus on the educational leadership formula of administration. They are in touch with the wants and needs of their staff and are clearly visible, as well as accessible to faculty and students on a regular basis. They are also continuously asking, what's next? Searchers recognize that even though some ideas fall short in expectation, they are willing to look at it differently and readjust instead of giving up or moving on to something else. Finally, time constraints are factors for both planners and searchers. The common complaint we found is that planners lay out timelines of expectations for results, but have no real understanding of follow-through. In other words, planners don't walk the walk. Searchers, although bound by the same timetable as planners, somehow seem to make time for what they believe is essential in their schools. They tend to have greater results and better relationships. Easterly also indicates that feedback is an important factor in effective leadership and reform. From experience, all stakeholders want to know what's working and if the data is useful. By not providing adequate feedback, any reform or plan is bound to fall short. Accountability is just as important as feedback. Many of our discussions focused around the lack of accountability and frustrations with our current administrators or leaders with regards to those who don't hold up their share of the work or lack valid outcomes. Now, how do we propose to change all this? Well, as you can see, change is a process, not an event. We must place a call to action to our communities and formulate a plan of attack. We need to get away from big goals and big plans like No Child Left Behind or Race to the Top and focus on our immediate customer satisfaction with regards to student learning instead. Our priority should be on what we can make substantial impact on rather than looking at single data points. And how do we propose to get there? Well, first, we'll need to roll up our sleeves and be willing to get into the trenches together. Administrators and teachers must work together to innovate new teaching strategies and methods. But it's hard work to be committed to making changes, and no one does it alone. So we need to ask for help. Easterly states that we have searchers all around us who have knowledge to create solutions, and that most solutions are homegrown. The last point I want to make is the importance for buy-in. When people see and understand the purpose, the task is no longer just another thing they are being asked to do, but rather it becomes part of the expected daily practice with valued results. Now we realize there are going to be obstacles. As humans, we want quick fixes for our problems, and planners tend to promise what they cannot deliver. Searchers, however, know that there will be failures, but must be vigilant in staying the course. Both Brown and Easterly believe that we can no longer afford to think in a utopian mindset when it comes to implementing change. As you look around your school now, hopefully you will find fewer planners and a lot more searchers who are leading the way to a brighter future.